Pagani is an Italian hypercar manufacturer founded back in 1992 by Horacio Pagani. Known for combining art and science, the brand produces very exclusive carbon fibre monsters such as the Zonda, the Huayra and the Utopia, all powered by Mercedes-AMG V12 engines. Now Pagani has never had a factory team in motorsport, but a Pagani Zonda R managed to set a Nürburgring record back in 2010. Now their only real competitive entry was a Zonda GR, which took part in the 2003 24 Hours of Le Mans but failed to finish. But how would they perform in the world of Formula 1? To answer this, I loaded up F125 MyTeam, created a brand new Pagani team, signed both Dennis Hauger and Richard Verschoor to drive for them, and simulated the next 10 seasons of Formula 1. The very first season of this simulation ends with the Ferrari team topping the standings to take their first Constructor Championship in almost 20 years. They finished just ahead of the McLaren and Red Bull teams, while the newest team of Pagani finished dead last, only scoring 6 points. Dennis Hauger fails to score any points, finishing down in P20, with his teammate Richard Verschoor scoring 6 to finish in P17. Real-life championship contender Oscar Piastri finishes down in P5, while the championship leader Lando Norris finishes in 3rd place. The other contender for the 2025 championship, Max Verstappen, finishes as the runner-up in this alternate universe, all being beaten by the newest Formula 1 champion, the Ferrari driver of Charles Leclerc. Now despite not winning the most races, Leclerc led the championship by 20 points after his 5 wins, while runner-up Verstappen would actually win a total of 6. Lando Norris and Lewis Hamilton would both win 2 races each, while Yuki Tsunoda would take his Red Bull to his inaugural F1 victory. One of the greatest drivers of all time, Lewis Hamilton, is finally set to retire at the end of the first season, with the most recent new race winner Yuki Tsunoda jumping over to Ferrari, while Alex Albon returns to his former team of Red Bull. Max Verstappen leaves Formula 1 for unknown reasons, allowing Oscar Piastri to sign for Red Bull, and Liam Lawson leaving the racing bulls in favour of McLaren. Pagani dropped their point scorer Richard Verschoor, instead opting for race winner Esteban Ocon, with seats being left at Williams for Pepe Marti, racing balls for Franco Colapinto, and finally Paul Aron will make his debut at Haas next year. Regulation changes will then hit the chassis and powertrain departments. Ferrari were unable to retain the title going into Season 2, with the Papaya McLarens rising to the top despite the driver moves. Pagani made the biggest improvements to jump all the way up to P4, with both drivers finishing inside the top 11. Dennis Hauger scores his first F1 points for P11, while Esteban Ocon makes a huge leap up to P7. Last season's champion Charles Leclerc drops down to P4, being overtaken by the newest Red Bull pairing of Alex Albon, who takes 3rd place, just behind his new teammate Oscar Piastri, who once again misses out on the title. Another brand new champion will be crowned once again, with Lando Norris outscoring his former teammate by 99 points to secure his first ever driver's title. It was complete dominance from the McLaren driver after he won 10 out of a possible 16 races, with Piastri winning 3, Leclerc winning twice, and Fernando Alonso finally achieving that illustrious 33rd race win. Now after that achievement, Fernando Alonso is happy to once again retire from Formula 1, with Liam Lawson making the eventual move to Aston Martin. Runner-up Oscar Piastri returns to McLaren in hopes of a title, while George Russell makes a move over to Red Bull. The smooth operator Carlos Sainz leaves Williams in favour of Mercedes, with one of my favourite drivers Oliver Behrman signing for one of my favourite teams of Williams. Both Pierre Gasly and Dennis Hauger will lose their seats with nowhere to go, with the new Pagani team signing Victor Martins for Season 3. Isaac Hadjar will then make his move over to Alpine, with the open seats at Racing Bulls being provided for Zach O'Sullivan, while Haas once again provide a debut, this time for Jack Crawford. Now the aerodynamics is then targeted by some regulation changes. The 3rd season will actually see a 3rd different Constructors champion, with the newest Pagani team making a monstrous rise to win their first title so quickly after joining the sport. Last season's champions McLaren fall down to P4, with Red Bull finishing in 2nd place. Victor Martins has a very successful first season, finishing all the way up in P4, just beating Oscar Piastri despite finishing on the same points. George Russell makes his very first appearance into the top 3 as he takes his new Red Bull to 3rd place, just shy of runner-up Charles Leclerc, who fails to win a 2nd title. Now to match Pagani's success, a very surprising title will be awarded to their driver Esteban Ocon, as he secures his first ever Formula 1 Drivers' Championship. Now it would be a very close title fight, with Ocon managing 5 race wins for an 8-point lead over Leclerc, who would only win twice. George Russell managed 3 wins for his 3rd place, with Victor Martins and Alex Albon both winning twice, while Piastri and Antinelli both win a single race each. Now despite winning the title last season, Lando Norris would only finish P9 this year, and will leave Formula 1, with McLaren bringing Pierre Gasly back in for Season 4. Yuki Tsunoda also leaves the sport, with Ferrari signing Oliver Behrman as his replacement. Isaac Hadjar moves over to Williams, Paul Aron moves over to Alpine, with race winner Victor Martins set to drive for Haas next year. The final open seat is then at the champions of Pagani, who bring in the 4-time champion Max Verstappen to cement their place at the top. Aerodynamics are then hit once again with some more regulation changes. Pagani do manage back-to-back Constructors' Championships, extending the gap to runners-up Red Bull to 83 points. The main reason for this is the team having both drivers finishing in the top 3, with last season's champion Esteban Ocon dropping down to 3rd place, just 11 points behind the runner-up. His new teammate Max Verstappen would end his first season at Pagani just 10 points behind the champion, with Charles Leclerc returning to championship glory after his success in season 1. Now, Leclerc did manage to win a total of 7 races this season, with Verstappen only managing to take 5, while his teammate and former champion Ocon would only win 2 races. Red Bull managed P2 with both their drivers of George Russell and Alex Albon both securing a race win. Nico Hulkenberg wasn't successful in achieving a podium this time round and will retire at the end of season 4, with Kick Sauber bringing back Richie Verschoor into the sport. Both Esteban Ocon and his former teammate Victor Martins are dropped by their teams, with Pagani signing Carlos Sainz, while Haas bring Joshua Dirksen in for his debut. Jack Doohan and Zach O'Sullivan will then swap seats, with Yuki Tsunoda returning to Formula 1 to drive for Mercedes. The chassis and powertrain departments are then next to be hit by the regulation changes. A 3rd consecutive Constructors' Championship will be won by the newest Pagani team despite their change of drivers, with Red Bull falling to P4 while Mercedes rise to finish as runners-up. The newest Pagani driver Carlos Sainz falls just short of the top 3 in his first season, only managing to finish in P4 after scoring 179 points. Kimi Antinelli will finish in 3rd place this season, making his first appearance in the top 3 during the simulation, finishing just behind the other Pagani driver of Max Verstappen by just 7 points. Although the gap to the champion would be even smaller, with just 2 points separating Verstappen from the reigning champion of Charles Leclerc, who will take back-to-back world championships. There was barely anything between the top 2 drivers, with both Leclerc and Verstappen taking 5 race wins each. Kimi Antonelli managed to secure 3 race wins, George Russell managed 2, with Carlos Sainz winning a single race in his first season with Pagani. Only 2 drivers would leave the sport at the end of the season, with both Alex Albon and Lance Stroll failing to secure another seat. Race winner Carlos Sainz is poached by Red Bull, with the Pagani team signing Oscar Piastri, before McLaren steal their other driver, Max Verstappen, to drive in Papaya. The Pagani team will then be forced to sign another driver, and they choose Oliver Behrman, with Ferrari stealing Pierre Gasly, allowing Yuki Tsunoda to once again partner Verstappen, but this time at McLaren. Joshua Dirksen and Richard Verschoor will swap teams, with the last seat at Aston Martin being given to Zane Maloney, while Mercedes managed to bring Lando Norris back into the sport. The aerodynamic, chassis and durability departments will all be hit with the regulation changes going into next year. With Pagani losing both their drivers, they also lose out on another championship, with the Mercedes team rising to win their first title of this simulation. Both Pagani drivers failed to reach the top 3 this year, with Oliver Behrman only managing P6, just behind his teammate Oscar Piastri, who finishes in P5. Former champion Charles Leclerc falls to just 3rd place this season, being overtaken by both Mercedes drivers, with Kimi Antonelli making his improvements to move up to the runner-up spot. Now, only 7 points would separate the Mercedes drivers, with Lando Norris returning to championship glory, winning a 2nd title and the 1st since season 2. Antonelli would be very disappointed in 2nd place after he won a total of 10 races across the entire season, with the champion Norris only winning 4, while Piastri and Leclerc would both win once each. A big transfer market occurs with the reigning champion leaving the sport once again, with Bortoleto getting a major move to champions of Mercedes. Richard Verschoor moves over to the Kick Sauber team, with Victor Martins returning to drive for Haas. Both Red Bull drivers of George Russell and Carlos Sainz will leave Formula 1, with Max Verstappen returning to the Red Bull team, and Franco Colapinto getting a call-up from the Racing Bulls. Paul Aron is then replaced at Alpine by Liam Lawson, allowing Esteban Ocon to return for Aston Martin, while the last seats at McLaren and Racing Bulls are given to Alex Albon and Taylor Barnard respectively. All of the performance departments are then hit with some regulation changes. Mercedes managed to retain their title despite losing their drivers' champion, with a shock Williams team finishing as the runners-up. The former champions of Pagani fall down to P4, being a bit lost within the midfield. Both drivers fall in the driver standings, with Oliver Behrman dropping down to P9, while Oscar Piastri falls down to P6. 3rd place last season, Charles Leclerc stays in 3rd place, being beaten by both Mercedes drivers once again, with the newest driver Gabriel Bortoleto finishing just 14 points ahead. But we will see a brand new champion this season, with Kimi Antonelli absolutely dominating the year to take his inevitable first championship title. Now, domination is the only way to describe Kimi's performance, after he won 14 out of a possible 16 races this season, with Bortoleto and Oscar Piastri both taking a single race win each. Now, the only driver moves this season will see Isaac Hadjar dropped in favour of Oliver Behrman's return to Williams, with the Pagani team bringing race winner George Russell back into Formula 1. Both the powertrain and durability departments are then hit by regulation changes. After a few seasons away from the spotlight, the Pagani Formula 1 team returned to the very top of the standings, to add another Constructor Championship to their accolades, with the former champions being dropped to P2. Oscar Piastri makes improvements and moves up to P4, just 8 points behind his former teammate, as Oliver Bearman is able to drag his Williams up into the top 3 and finishing in 3rd place. The reigning champion Kimi Antonelli is knocked off his pedestal, failing to record back-to-back titles, being beaten by just a single championship point. Now another brand new champion will be crowned, with George Russell scoring the extra point to take the latest title during his return season to Formula 1. Consistency was very important for George Russell, as his 3 race wins were being completely overshadowed by Antinelli, who somehow lost the championship after winning 10 different races. The rest of the race wins were then split by Oliver Bearman, Oscar Piastri and Gabriel Bortoleto, who would all win a single race each. A couple more driver moves at the end of the season, including Oscar Piastri leaving the Pagani team alongside Yuki Tsunoda, who leaves McLaren. The Pagani team will then sign the recent race winner Gabriel Bortoleto, allowing Lando Norris to once again return to Mercedes, while Isaac Hadjar also makes a return to Formula 1 to drive for McLaren in the penultimate season. Now once again, all the performance departments are hit with some more regulation changes. With Lando Norris back behind the wheel at Mercedes, the Silver Arrows return to the top of the Constructors' Championship at the expense of Pagani, who fall back to runners-up. Lewis driver Gabriel Bortoleto manages to match Piastri's performance to finish in 4th place, but remains somewhat far behind Lando Norris, who returns to finish in 3rd. The former champion of George Russell is unable to retain his title and falls to the runner-up position, being blown out of the park by Kimi Antinelli, dominating the sport to take another Drivers' Championship. This time, 10 race wins for Kimi did equate to a championship win, with another complete domination. George Russell adds some more race wins to his tally after he took 4, while Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc return to the top of the podium, both winning a single race each. The driver market sees a heavy shake-up going into the final season, with both Jack Doohan and Joshua Dirksen missing out on a drive next year. Zach O'Sullivan joins the Racing Bulls, while Paul Aron returns to drive for Alpine. Isaac Hadjar moves over to the Kick Sauber team, with Ritomo Miata being brought in for his debut at McLaren. A trio of driver swaps will then occur, with Norris moving to Williams, Max Verstappen moving to Mercedes, and Pepe Marti moving to drive for Red Bull. The final swap will then be champion Kimi Antonelli and Gabriel Bortoleto, with Pagani having 2 world champions driving next year. The powertrain and durability departments are then hit with some more changes as we go into season 10. The final season sees the newest team on the grid finishing at the very top to take another Constructors' Championship in Formula 1. Mercedes fall back down to runners-up, while the Williams team remain successful to remain in 3rd place. Bortoleto remains in 4th, despite moving over to Mercedes, finishing just behind Charles Leclerc, who returns to the top 3. The top 2 in the championship will be both Pagani drivers, but who will secure another Drivers' Championship? 76 points would be the difference between Russell and Antinelli, with Antinelli being the victor, beating his teammate and winning the final driver championship of this simulation. Kimi would win a total of 9 races this season, with George Russell only managing to secure 3. Charles Leclerc managed another 2 race wins, with both Mercedes of Bortoleto and Verstappen winning a single race each. Now that rounds out the latest F1 25 simulation, this time with the Pagani Formula 1 team. Now let's have a look at the final stats for the championships and race wins across the 10 seasons. Starting off with the Constructors' Championship, as 4 different teams would win a title. Both the Ferrari and McLaren teams would secure just a single title each, while Mercedes managed to win 3 times, with the newest Formula 1 team Pagani securing a whopping 5 titles in just 10 seasons. There would be 5 different drivers champions, with both Esteban Ocon and George Russell winning their first and only title while driving for Pagani, with Lando Norris managing to secure 2 championships. Charles Leclerc and Kimi Antonelli would then be tied at the top, after both drivers went on to win a total of 3 titles each. A sum of 15 different drivers won a Formula 1 race, with Tsunoda, Alonso and Carlos Sainz all managing an achievement on just a single occasion. Victor Martins and Oliver Bearman would win their first Formula 1 races, matched with Lewis Hamilton after they all won twice. Gabriel Bortoleto and Alex Albon would win 3 races each. Oscar Piastri would only manage to win 6, being outperformed by Esteban Ocon, who managed 7. George Russell only managed 16 race wins, just behind Lando Norris and Max Verstappen, who both won 17. Charles Leclerc managed 25, but was nowhere near Kimi Antonelli, who managed to win a monstrous 57 races to end the simulation. That is going to wrap up another video on F1 25. Now if you enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. 2025 is almost over, so let's see how high we can get that subscriber count. Links will be in the description for the Pagani mod I used, but also to my various social media platforms, including my Discord server, which is the best way to receive updates about uploads, but also to talk to me and other fans of the channel. But that is going to be all from me today, so I hope you have a good day, evening or night, wherever you are, and goodbye.